Hello everyone, welcome to video number 5 in our series. Actually video number 4 if we're counting from just reading the play, but video number 5 overall for What the Play? And we are still on The Importance of Being Earnest by Oscar Wilde, still in Act 2 because we learned from Act 1 that reading an entire act in one video is a bad idea. One note before we get started, please go follow my social medias so that you can stay updated on what I'm doing as Miss Northeastern within this year and what I have done in the past since I got my title. And yeah, I guess let's get started. So, picking up from last time, Cecily goes toward Jack. He kisses her brow in a melancholy manner. Cecily, what is the matter, Uncle Jack? Do look happy. You look as if you had a toothache. And I have got such a surprise for you. Who do you think is in the dining room? Your brother! Who? Your brother, Ernest! He arrived about half an hour ago. What nonsense, I haven't got a brother. Oh, don't say that. However badly he may have behaved to you in the past, he is still your brother. You couldn't be so heartless as to disown him. I'll tell him to come out. And you will shake hands with him, won't you, Uncle Jack? Runs back into the house. Chasuble, these are very joyful tidings. That telegram from Paris seems to have been a somewhat heartless jest by one who wished to play upon your feelings. Miss Prism, after we had all been resigned to his loss, his sudden return seems to me peculiarly distressing. Jack, my brother is in the dining room. I don't know what it all means. I think it is perfectly absurd. Enter Algernon and Cecily hand in hand. They come slowly up to Jack. Good heavens! Motions Algernon away. Brother John, I have come down from town to tell you that I am very sorry for all the trouble I have given you, and that I intend to lead a better life in the future. Jack glares at him and does not take his hand. Chasuble to Miss Prism. There is good in that young man. He seems to be sincerely repentant. These sudden conversions do not please me. They belong to dissent. They savor the laxity of the nonconformist. Cecily, Uncle Jack, you are not going to refuse your brother's hand. Nothing will induce me to take his hand. I think his coming down here disgraceful. He knows perfectly well why. Young man, you have had a very narrow escape of your life. I hope it will be a warning to you. We were mourning your demise when you entered. Yes, I see Jack has got a new suit of clothes. They don't fit him properly. His necktie is wrong. Uncle Jack, do be nice. There is some good in everyone. Ernest has just been telling me about his poor invalid friend Mr. Bunbury, whom he goes to visit so often. And surely there must be some good in one who is kind to an invalid, and leaves the pleasures of London to sit by a bed of pain. Oh, he's been talking about Bunbury, has he? Yes, he has told me all about poor Mr. Bunbury and his terrible state of health. Bunbury! Well, I won't have him talk to you about Bunbury or about anything else. It is enough to drive one perfectly frantic. Mr. Worthing, your brother has been unexpectedly restored to you by the mysterious dispensations of Providence, who seems to desire your reconciliation, and indeed it is good for brothers to dwell together in amenity. Algernon, of course I admit the faults were all on my side, but I must say that I think that Brother John's coldness to me is peculiarly painful. I expect a warmer welcome, especially considering it is the first time I have come here. Uncle Jack, if you don't shake hands with Ernest, I will never forgive you. Never forgive me. Never, never, never. I suppose I must then. Shakes hand and glares. You young scoundrel, you must get out of this place as soon as possible. I don't allow any Bunburying here. It's pleasant, is it not, to see so perfect a reconciliation? You have done a beautiful action today, dear child. Miss Prism, we must not be premature in our judgments. I love Miss Prism. Enter Merriman. I have put Mr. Ernest's things in the room next to yours, sir. I suppose that's all right? What? Mr. Ernest's luggage, sir. I have unpacked it and put it in the room next to yours. His luggage. Yes, sir. 3 portmanteaus, which are large traveling bags, a dressing case, 2 hat boxes, and a large luncheon basket. I'm afraid I can't stay more than a week this time. Merriman to Algernon. I beg your pardon, sir. There is an elderly gentleman who wishes to see you. He has just come in a cab from the station. Hands card on a salver. To see me? Yes, sir. Reads card. Parker and Gribsy, solicitors. I don't know anything about them. Who are they? Jack takes card. Parker and Gibbsy. I wonder who they can be. I expect, Ernest, they have come about some business for your friend Bunbury. Perhaps Bunbury wants to make his will and wishes you to be the executor. Show the gentleman in at once. Very good, sir. Merriman goes out. Jack. I hope, Ernest, that I may rely on the statement you made to me last week when I finally settled all your bills for you. I hope you have no outstanding accounts of any kind. I haven't any debts at all, dear Jack. Thanks to your generosity, I don't owe a penny, except for a few neckties, I believe. I am sincerely glad to hear it. Enter Merriman. Mr. Gibbsy. Merriman goes out. Enter Gribsy. Oh, it's not Gibbsy, it's Gribsy. Excuse me. Gribsy to Dr. Chasuble. Mr. Ernest Worthing? Miss Prism. This is Mr. Ernest Worthing. Mr. Ernest Worthing? Yes. Of Before the Albany? Yes, that is my address. I am very sorry, sir, but we have a writ of attachment for 20 days against you at the suit of the Savory Hotel Co., limited for... I do not know how to read this money. 762 I4S 2D. Here, I'll let you guys look at it because I literally have no idea how to read that. It's right there. No idea what that means. There's a note. Hold on. British currency at this time consisted of pounds, which is the 762, shillings, which is the 14. It's not a 1. Or it's not an I. 14. And pence, which is the 2 pence. So it is 762 pounds, 14 shillings, and 2 pence. There were 12 pennies to a shilling and 20 shillings to the pound. The sum Jack owes the Savory roughly translates into, oh my gosh, $3,800, an enormous amount. Guys, that's a lot of money. Okay. Sorry. I am very sorry, sir, but we have a writ of attachment for you, 20 days against you at the suite of the Savory Hotel Co., limited for 762 shillings, 14 pence, and 14 shillings, 762 pounds, 14 shillings, and 2 pence. Against me? Yes, sir. What perfect nonsense. I never dine at the Savory at my own expense. I always dine at Willis's. It is far more expensive. I don't owe a penny to the Savory. The writ is marked as having been served on you personally at the Albany on May the 27th. Judgment was given in default against you on the 5th of June. Since then, we have written to you no less than 15 times without receiving any reply. In the interest of our clients, we had no option but to obtain an order for committal of your person. Committal? What on earth do you mean by committal? I haven't the smallest intention of going away. I am staying here for a week. I am staying with my brother. If you imagine I am going up to town the moment I arrive, you are extremely mistaken. I am merely a solicitor myself. I do not employ personal violence of any kind. The officer of the court, whose function it is to seize the person of the debtor, is waiting in the fly outside, which is a small horse-drawn vehicle. He has considerable experience in these matters. That is why we always employ him. But no doubt you will prefer to pay the bill. Pay it? How on earth am I going to do that? You don't suppose I have got any money? How perfectly silly you are. No gentleman ever has any money. My experience is that it is usually relations who pay. Jack, you really must settle this bill. Kindly allow me to see the particular items, Mr. Gribsy. Turns over immense folio. 762 pounds, 14 shillings, and 2 pence since last October. I am bound to say I never saw such reckless extravagance in all my life. Hands it to Dr. Chasuble. Miss Prism. 762 pounds for eating? There can be little good in any young man who eats so much and so often. We are far away from Wordsworth's plain living and high thinking. Jack. Now, Dr. Chasuble, do you consider I am in any way called upon to pay this monstrous account for my brother? I am bound to say that I do not think so. It would be encouraging his profligacy. Profligacy. Brindley says it's profligacy. As a man sows, so let him reap. This proposed incarceration must be most salutary. It is to be regretted that it is only for 20 days. I am quite of your opinion. My dear fellow, how ridiculous you are. You know perfectly well that the bill is really yours. Mine. Yes, you know it is. Mr. Worthing, if this is a jest, it is out of place. It is a gross effrontery. Just what I expected from him. And it is ingratitude. I didn't expect that. Jack. Never mind what he says. It is the way he always goes on. You mean now to say that you are not Ernest Worthing, residing at B4 the Albany. I wonder, as you are at it, then you don't deny being my brother at all. Why don't you? Oh, I am not going to do that, my dear fellow. It would be absurd. Of course I am your brother, and that is why you should pay this bill for me. I will tell you quite candidly that I have not the smallest intention of doing anything of the kind. Dr. Chasuble, the worthy rector of this parish, and Miss Prism, in whose admirable and sound judgment I place great reliance, are both of the opinion that incarceration would do you a great deal of good, and I think so too. Gribsy pulls out a watch. I am sorry to disturb this pleasant family meeting, but time presses. We have to be at Holloway no later than 4 o'clock. Otherwise, it is difficult to obtain admission. The rules are very strict. Holloway is a prison located on one of London's suburbs. Algernon. Holloway? It is at Holloway that detentions of this character take place, always. Well, I am really not going to be imprisoned in the suburbs for having dined in the West End. This bill is for suppers, not for dinners. I really don't care. All I say is that I'm not going to be imprisoned in the suburbs. The surroundings, I admit, are middle class, but the gaol itself is fashionable and well aired. There are ample opportunities of taking exercise at certain stated hours of the day. In case of a medical certificate, which is always easy to obtain, the hours can be extended. Exercise? Good God! No gentleman ever takes exercise. You don't seem to understand what a gentleman is. I have met so many of them, sir, that I am afraid I don't. There are the most curious varieties of them. The result of cultivation, no doubt. Will you kindly come now, sir, if it will not be inconvenient to you? Algernon appealing to Jack. Jack! Miss Prism. Pray be firm, Mr. Worthing. Chasuble. This is an occasion on which any weakness would be out of place. It would be a form of self-deception. Jack. I am quite firm, and I don't know what weakness or deception of any kind is. Uncle Jack, I think you have a little money of mine, haven't you? Let me pay this bill. I wouldn't like your own brother to be in prison. Oh, I couldn't possibly let you pay it, Cecily. That would be absurd. Then you will, won't you? I think you would be sorry if you thought your own brother was shut up. Of course, I am quite disappointed with him. You won't speak to him again, Cecily, will you? Certainly not. Unless, of course, he speaks to me first. It would be very rude not to answer him. Well, I'll take care that he doesn't speak to you. I'll take care he doesn't speak to anybody in this house. The man should be cut. Mr. Gribsy. Yes, sir. I'll pay this bill for my brother. It is the last bill I shall ever pay for him, too. How much is it? 762 pounds, 14 shillings, and 2 pence. Is that right? Oh my gosh, if that was right, I'm going to be so proud of myself. Oh, buddy. The cab will be 5 and 9 pence extra, hired for the convenience of the client. All right. Miss Prism, I must say I think such generosity is quite foolish. Chasuble with a wave of the hand. The heart has its wisdoms as well as the head, Miss Prism. Payable to Parker and Gribsy, I suppose? Yes, sir. Kindly don't cross the check. Thank you. To Dr. Chasuble, good day. Dr. Chasuble bows coldly. Good day. Miss Prism bows coldly. to Algernon. I hope I shall have the pleasure of meeting you again. I sincerely hope not. What ideas you have of the sort of society a gentleman wants to mix in. No gentleman ever wants to know a solicitor who wants to imprison one in the suburbs. Quite so, quite so. By the way, Gribbsy, you are not to go back to the station in that cab. That is my cab. It was taken for my convenience. You have got to walk to the station. And a very good thing, too. Solicitors don't walk nearly enough. I don't know any solicitor who takes sufficient exercise. As a rule, they sit in stuffy offices all day long, neglecting their business. You can take the cab, Mr. Gribbsy. Thank you, sir. Gribbsy goes out. Cecily. The day is getting very sultry, isn't it, Dr. Chasuble? There is thunder in the air. The atmosphere requires to be cleared. Have you read the Times this morning, Mr. Worthing? There is a very interesting article on the growth of religious feeling among laity. Laity. L-A-I-T-Y. Jack, I am keeping it for after dinner. Enter Merriman. Luncheon is on the table, sir. Algernon. Ah, that is good news. I am excessively hungry. Cecily interposing. But you have lunched already. Lunched already? Yes, Uncle Jack. He had some pâté de foie gras sandwiches and a small bottle of the champagne that your doctor ordered for you. My '89 champagne? Yes, I thought you would like him to have the same one as yourself. Oh, well, if he has lunched once, he can't be expected to lunch twice. It would be absurd. Miss Prism, to partake in 2 luncheons in one day would not be liberty. It would be license. Chasuble, even the pagan philosophers condemned excess in eating. Aristotle speaks of it with severity. He uses the same terms about it as he does about the usury. Jack, Doctor, will you escort the ladies into luncheon? Chasuble, with pleasure. He goes into the house with Miss Prism and Cecily. Ooh. So, did you guys think that Jack was gonna pay Algernon's bail fee, debt fee? You know, it's really funny. So, follow this. Jack is Earnest in town, and Algernon is Bunbury in the country. But right now, Algernon has come to the country to hang out with Jack's family and is pretending to be his brother. And, it's just all over the place. I love it. It's wonderful. And it is definitely so much better if you actually watch the play instead of following along as I read it to you. But, hey, we do what we do whenever, we're living in COVID. So, I think that's all I've got for today. So I will see you guys next week. Have a very safe rest of your week and have a good weekend. Yeah. Bye, y'all.